BBC News with Sue Montgomery. Turkey has agreed to support Finland and Sweden's applications to join NATO, ending weeks of wrangling. The Turkish government had initially objected to their membership bids, accusing them of protecting Kurdish militants, but it's reversed its position at a meeting of the alliance in Madrid. From there, our security correspondent Frank Gardner reports.
Sooner than many had expected, the NATO summit has achieved an early success. The way has just been cleared for Finland and Sweden to join the 30-member Western military alliance after Turkey dropped its objections. The breakthrough came after the foreign ministers of Sweden, Finland and Turkey, facilitated by NATO's Secretary-General, signed a joint security pact that addressed Ankara's concerns. Turkey had previously objected to the two Nordic nations joining NATO on the grounds that they sheltered Kurdish activists whom Ankara viewed as terrorists.
The US Congressional Committee investigating the attack last year in the Capitol building by Donald Trump supporters has heard a first-hand account of the day's events from a former White House insider. Barbara Platt-Usher reports from Washington.
Cassidy Hutchinson had given several recorded depositions, but the committee unexpectedly called an urgent hearing so she could testify publicly. It was a riveting hour of explosive revelations. That Donald Trump knew many in the crowd at his White House rally were armed, but still urged them to march on the Capitol. That he was so determined to go with them, he tried to grab the steering wheel of his limousine when told he couldn't. And that a White House lawyer warned he could be charged with every crime imaginable if he did.
The British socialite Ghislaine Maxwell has been sentenced to 20 years in prison by a New York court for helping her former partner Jeffrey Epstein abuse underage girls. Maxwell, who's 60, was found guilty in December of sex trafficking. Nomi Iqbal reports.
Ghislaine Maxwell faced her victims before her fate was sealed. The judge allowed up to 6 women to give victim impact statements, with one saying Maxwell's inability to show any remorse was the final insult. Wearing navy prison uniform and ankle shackles, she stood up after her sentence of 20 years was handed down and addressed the victims. She said, "I'm sorry for the pain you experienced." She called Epstein a cunning man who fooled all in his orbit. The judge said Maxwell had not taken any responsibility.
The Palestinian militant group Hamas has released a video purporting to show an Israeli citizen being held captive in the Gaza Strip. It shows a man lying in a bed and a close-up of what appears to be the Israeli identity card of a civilian named Hisham al-Sayed. If confirmed, it would be the first such image of the man since he was captured 7 years ago. World News from the BBC. An Iranian appeals court has upheld an 8-year jail sentence for spying handed down to a French national, Benjamin Briere. He was arrested in May 2020 after flying a remote-controlled device near Iran's border with Turkmenistan. Mr. Briere's lawyer, who's based in Paris, said his client was being used as a hostage by the Iranian authorities, following the resumption of talks this week between Tehran and Western powers on the country's nuclear program. Colombia's president-elect Gustavo Petro has said his government has a unique opportunity to break a cycle of violence and revenge by implementing the historic peace accord signed with FARC rebels 6 years ago. Mr. Petro is a former Marxist rebel. He was speaking during the presentation of the final report prepared by Colombia's Truth and Reconciliation Commission, attended by many relatives of victims. Ghanaian police have used tear gas and water cannon against protesters in the capital Accra. The demonstrations were called to denounce high fuel prices, the rising cost of living and a new tax. The trouble began when people were blocked by riot police as they tried to march towards the presidential offices. The BBC's Favour Nunu was there.
What we see are plumes of smoke billowing into the skies as the youth in the capital have set tires on fire. The young men and women gathered here in the capital, who call themselves the Arise Ghana group, are made up of transport operators, young politicians, and some local traders. They are calling on the president of Ghana to resolve the living cost that has created unimaginable hardships on them.
There are reports the Sudanese military has attacked Ethiopian army positions along the country's common border in retaliation for the alleged killing of 7 Sudanese soldiers. Ethiopia denied its troops had executed them.